He's a media artist, director, and pioneer in the aesthetics of machine intelligence. And his global projects have received an overwhelming number of awards and prizes, and his jaw-dropping works have been drawing crowds all over the world. And now it's our turn. Here, a very warm and special welcome to Rotterdam for Refik Anadol. Thank you.
So much.
So Refik, I have one informal question, because it's quite special to use AI and art. It's not something that's on the curriculum for art schools. So how did it invade or take over your artistic practice?
I think it's pretty much a childish imagination with the computers, playing games so much early days. And I think there was an idea that this machine should be like something that one day become a friend. I think this finding human in non-human became very early, I think, ages. I think playing games are a good thing, I think.
Games is always a good, gateway.
Yeah.
Gateway drug. All right, well, take it away. I'm looking forward to your speech.
Thank you so much. So great to be here. Deeply honored to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Refik Anadol. I'm a media artist coming from Los Angeles, and my heart rate is too high because I respect this beautiful day. To be honest, I'm measuring 128 BPM for this beautiful day and energy. So for this today to be, I guess, to bring the joy, energy, and inspiration, I thought that we should have a different than just a keynote. So here's my work. This is Machine Hallucinations, a project that started almost 6 years ago, but much more earlier. And today in my 20 minutes, I'll do my very best to bring you to my journey, to explain what you are seeing, what you're experiencing. During this presentation, we will be seeing multiple artworks. They are all driven by AI algorithms. Generative algorithms will be using certain information around life. But before that, I also want to show something very important. Today, if you see this presentation almost 9 years ago, I was on a stage as a student, and I was saying that one day, the buildings may learn and they may dream. And I was so excited on the stage, with my short, by the way, I'm better right now. And I didn't know that I was next to one of the most important minds and engineers. And that day, I was able to get an award that allowed me to study at UCLA, Design Media Arts Department. And I was also criticized, my works were so much criticized that next day, I was also in the collection of Bill Gates. So just want to say that for friends and artists and creators, critics are great, but sometimes it may be different. I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey, where I found that where the West and East and left and right, contemporary and history connects. I was very fortunate that my mother brought one day Commodore 128, that a computer that changed my mind, I guess. I was literally addicted to games till the end of high school, specifically the space in the mind of a machine truly inspired me. And as William Gibson, which I think many of you love, and also we love the science fiction as like a family and friends, I was so fortunate to grow up with family of like teachers. So I grew up with, I guess, these wonderful minds that allow me to learn very early. But I think this movie also changed the imagination. But as a child, I think I found optimism in this beautiful movie. And 2008 was an important year because as an undergrad studying, I was super fascinated by this amazing write-up from Lev Manovich. And he was saying, in other words, architects along with artists can take the next logical step to consider the invisible space of electronic data flows as substance rather than just as void, something that needs a structure, a politics and poetics. It was super inspiring to me that perhaps embedding media arts into architecture by using algorithms and data and sensors, we can maybe create a feeling of a new world. And I started programming languages. This is called Pure Data, 2008, where it's like a simple, humble little programming language, allowed me to understand how to compute information, but also it was a very inspiring year that I think I coined the term data painting, the idea of using data as a substance. Early works were focusing on projection mapping with this software called VVVV. For anyone interested, you can download it, vvvv.org. And this allowed me to do many projects with computation and create installations, but also understand how data can be used. For example, in this project, I was able to create an installation by using the street sound data. And around that day, 2011, I think I call it poetics of data, I realized that data can shape any form. And data is not just a number, but it can be a form of memory. And around the years, I think what was also very, again, came to me inspiring is this idea of reality and how actually machines can compute and create almost realistic forms and how it has been used in the arts. By the way, you will see a lot of frames in my work in the next slides. It was actually a rejection, a failure. That is, it was too expensive to put a huge frame around the building. And when I was rejected from the curators, I thought perhaps it's a good reason to start. And also, research, especially in the field of like computation and as we all humanity like becoming more and more inspired by these machines around us, it started like physical and virtual worlds started to collide way before that right now we are all talking about. And as Kierkegaard says, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And I find that it's fascinating that every single day our humanity is completely changing, our desires, our DNA, and the controls are changing. Who is becoming like where and where exactly we are in this is becoming changing. And also the sense of displacement, the feeling of are we in which kind of dimension we are. And I feel like this is a beautiful situation, and art is exactly happening in this dimension. And I also like found that design is a solution to a problem, art is a question problem, as John Maeda says. I asked maybe the similar question, what does it really mean to be a human in the 21st century? This beautiful monkey learns how to use Instagram in just 30 seconds if you want to watch. It will like and comment and things like that. But this question was so heavy, and I thought that I cannot do it myself, and there's an amazing African proverb, to go faster, do it alone. To go further, do it together. So here is my giants, my team. We are 15 people, can speak 15 languages, and represent 10 countries. Pretty much, I think we are called nerds, which means I think we learn to learn very quickly. In our studio, our practice is pretty much focused on many mediums. And over the last 10 years, we try to work with art, science, and technology. We try to collide AI, neuroscience, and architecture, and always try to find humans, machines, and environments, and try to create narratives and feelings that perhaps in near future, the built environments, the architecture, can go beyond just steel, structures, glass, and concrete. And we thought that perhaps using light as a material, one of the most, I believe, divine material, can allow us to go beyond what we can imagine. In the studio, we focused multiple forms of artworks, but specifically today about AI, and we will be showing and seeing AI artworks. But I think what was very inspiring to me was it's much powerful, impactful, and purposeful when the art is for anyone, any age, any background. And I think public art is exactly what it is. Public art can be in anywhere. There is no beginning, there is no end, there is no wall, there is no ceiling, there is no walls or doors. I do believe when art is everywhere, in public, free and open, that's where the impact may happen. But one thing that maybe you remember this image, almost 2015 summer, a group of Google engineers leaked this image, which is called the Deep Dream, a software that I think triggered the AI revolution. And the group, who is also Blaise Agoré-Arcas part of it, said, like the invention of applied pigments, printing press, photography, and computers, we believe machine intelligence is an innovation that will profoundly affect art. And I was very fortunate to become one of their first AI artists in residence at Google. And the desire to take information, turn into a knowledge, and eventually wisdom became a research. The very first project was inspired by the future of library, which is hugely inspired by the Louis Borges, the Library of Babel. This Borgesian imagination of one day every information may exist. We designed this immersive environment where you step inside, you are witnessing AI learning in front of you. The artwork is trained on 1.7 million images, so imagine a library that you go. But in this library, there is not like a classical keyword box. In this world, the AI already learned for you and progressing in a world that is a little bit different than where we are. And the other question was, if a machine can learn, which it can it dream? Became the second question. And if it can dream, how this can be formed, this can be. And these images were like, by the way, what is trained for? And for anyone interested in AI, pretty much many questions happening in the center called latent space. It's where exactly machine learns and, I guess, saves information that awaits our questions. And also, by the way, the image on the left side is 9 years of research of researchers at the library, and on the right side, 90 minutes of AI sorting the same information, which I'm calling them data universes. This became a research, and for example, here we trained Rumi, Persian poets died in Konya, Turkey, his Masnevi in 19 languages and represented in different forms, or even Mozart, like the music, not only text, can take many forms and different imaginations. But I think what was really inspired me, like the image you see on this left and right immersive keynote, this idea that in here we are watching an AI dreaming almost 1.7 million documents on the left side, but what truly make me more inspired is what happens if we take these machine decisions and transform them into expressive new pigmentation. Like in Van Gogh, like Monet inspired from, what will happen another like algorithm can take this and transform it to new dimensions. The whole idea of machine hallucination started like almost now 6 years ago, and we trained more than 100 models and download more than 2 billion images from public domains. And what was really exciting for us is, even though the style feels similar, every archive, every input was different. For example, nature, culture, urban, cities, and each information was creating different patterns, like life. So this story became more inspiring because the question was how machines could simulate unconscious and subconscious events, such as dreaming, remembering, and hallucinating. By the way, for friends who are interested, we had to write lots of softwares. Even though the many AI algorithms are public, available, and free, we still need to generate some softwares allows us to understand what exactly machine learned and how we can make this black box more visible. And once we learned this, how to embed these ideas from the machine's mind, it was also very inspiring to look at the cities from a fresh perspective. For example, New York, we were able to get 100 million images of New York City, and all these images you see here are not real. They look like real. So technically, AI could simulate almost realistic images of the city. And then, taking this information and turning it into an immersive room, we were able to let the people to step inside the idea, stepping inside the machine dreams. And even the music you hear is not real, completely AI made. And you're sort of like in this multi-sensory world that sometimes we don't know where the real starts, where the dream ends, and that kind of, I guess, feeling. And these specific immersive rooms are becoming very familiar, and I think around the world, and we became the pioneers of this specific movement and did many projects, like as you see here, and try to create powerful messages through installations that is for, again, anyone, any age, and any background. And this type of installations can also take many different forms, as you may see, an historic like installation in a like 120 years old theater, and this is an AI watch all the movies ever played in that historical space, and then we reconstruct the memories of the space. Also look at different like large volume spaces, such as in Berlin Kraftwerk, and even we were able to work with AI and create an artificial brain. So it's a very interesting project. This is not a real brain. As you see, it's an fMRI DTI looking image that machine dreamed. This is data from the Human Connectome project, which is one of the most largest open source brain data, that is showing us what does it mean to have a feeling, certain emotions, and their representations. And AI can also be very inspiring when we had this image to like text to image prompts. Recently, DALL-E 2 and Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, many new algorithms allowing many people to start creating artwork through their language. And I think it's a very fascinating world that can create beautiful imagination. Almost 6 months ago, before DALL-E 2 was public, we were able to work with Zaha Hadid architects, and these two images you see are completely machine-made, not real, but we took this as an inspiration with Zaha Hadid architects and Patrick Schumacher and designed an immersive room where you were able to go these machine dreams. So we are calling this architecting the metaverse. It's an immersive space, and in this room, every single Zaha Hadid architecture archives were feeding the AI, and finding connections. And I do believe it's a little bit more inspiring than wearing adjusted TV on our face, than just a VR, but still feeling the physical connection with the building world we have. And this was a really interesting research right now open in Seoul, which you can hopefully go and see. And at the end, you were able to fly in those machine-dreamed images. And I would like to say immersive environments are very powerful and very exciting, but I want to take you to another project that I think can be also very fun to see. So right now, this one is a different AI project. So these flowers are trained on 75 million flowers. And we use Smithsonian archives, 16,000 every species exists. Pretty much every flower exists in the world. So this AI could dream any flower types in any light conditions, in any like seasons. But what was missing to me, the sound was AI, the image was also AI, But what about the scent? Like, can we smell what AI could dream? So here is our research. So this machine you see here is completely can create a real-time scent augmentation. Now imagine open a room and you step inside this universe where you feel the sea and hopefully one day touch, maybe HVAC, the feeling of being in the machine dreams. It was a very inspiring public art project that brought many people in the city of Milan in the public space. And it was so powerful to see that not only just two mediums, but mixing multiple sensories, becoming this new kind of exploration. This is one of the world's first multi-sensory AI dreaming room, I guess. And the music also. And while this is going on research, we are not only just creating beautiful aesthetic pieces, we are also asking heavy questions. For example, can we reconstruct a memory? At the moment, we are researching with University of San Francisco and looking for patterns of Alzheimer, dementia, anxiety, and depression. And we are doing our very best to find how can we use these mediums and these environments to make an impact, a functional solution that I would love to share very soon with you. The other explanation, of course, in the live music. This is from a couple of months ago, Philadelphia Orchestra. In real time, Yannick is performing Missa Solemnis, and real time, his movements and the music was letting AI to dream in real time. And as Carl Sagan says, imagination will often carry us to the worlds that never were, but without it we go nowhere. And I would like to bring one more attention in this last part of the presentation to a topic that pretty much many probably creators are aware of this, blockchain and the activities around new economy. But today I don't want to talk about numbers, but I want to talk about something much important, the value of experience in public art. And I think it's a much more powerful to think about the value of experience in life that is open and free to everyone. Over the years, we worked with many information from the Hubble telescope to ISS data and make many, many artworks. But what was interesting is what will happen if we take this information and bring to like metaverse, which is a question what it is still. But I found that it is where physical and virtual connects. It's where I feel like we can create imagination. So this is an immersive room that you can step inside where the ISS telescope, Hubble telescope, and the Mars MRO telescope can dream. So to me, challenging this medium is much important than trying to create a quick marketplace. I don't believe it's exciting to just rush through certain hype, but I think the questions are more important than the answers. And the question is, what else can we do with these mediums and create a new, maybe creative economy for social justice or for other like forms of imagination that is again just a click hype or something like quick to access. And I found this very inspiring because the potential of new technology is exciting, but again, I think we have to ask that questions to improve this research. For example, we also work with the Museum of Modern Art in New York, MoMA, and for example, MoMA allowed us to use their entire archive and let AI to dream infinite like artworks. It's a very meta question, but imagine a museum itself is dreaming all the artworks in their like basically museum. So this is an AI is dreaming from the 320,000 images of MoMA archives, which makes these 3 different artworks. And the other research was very inspiring through this. Again, NFTs maybe can be used much more powerfully in different contexts. For example, quantum computation. One of the exciting projects we did with the Google AI quantum team, we were able to look at the patterns of like their Google Advantage test and where we were able to connect these multiple like depth circuit data and transform these mission decisions into an immersive or a large-scale pandemic artwork. It was in a National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne, and during the lockdown, 1.7 million people filled this piece. So technically what we are watching is this Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation theory, I guess. Like every subatomic inspiration and exploration can create new worlds. So we are watching AI dreaming these fluctuations in the noise, data of quantum noise. And the other aspect is public art. As I show, like on the left side, you can see someone dreaming like, or meditating and someone watching the piece. Putting these media walls in the public space, in nature, created a very powerful experiences and make people connect with AI art, but in a public space, in a more like, I guess, divine, meditative, and maybe some escapism from the life, but in a place that has no walls and no doors and open. And I think this may be one of the best museums in the world, nature, and it's really hard to tap that. And another form of public art can be this, or we also explored historic buildings, such as here we see in Berlin, König galleries like St. Agnes Church, where we took the real-time data from the Berlin weather data. And this also artwork real-time changes every day. And I think the piece that we were discussing also right now in Centre Pompidou is called Machine Hallucinations, Nature Dreams. And we got more than 600,000 audience in Berlin to watch this piece. I think the reason was creating a safe and secure space where ethically sourced data, ethically trained AI, creating an ethically correct environment that I think the people were feeling connected and meditating. And this piece is right now in Centre Pompidou Metz, and I think we'll be traveling around Europe as well. Another piece was also in Palazzo Strozzi, another AI dreaming in the ancient Renaissance area. And also we did a project, for example, with SpaceX. This project we are watching is an inspiration for the very first 4 astronauts went to space, and their mission was bring hope to humanity to show the research. And because of this NFT project, the only number today I want to give is this. We were able to collect $2.5 million for the children's hospital. And I think, again, this movement can create a major impact. It's beyond just selling something, but giving back to the futures. And the economy and the system is allowing. The intention is, I think, what we may need. And the last project, I want to finish this keynote with one of the recent projects, it's a couple of months ago in Barcelona, another experience in public space. As Gaudi said, originality consists in returning to the origin, which is original returns to the simplicity of the first solutions. I think it's an incredible inspiration. And I was very honored to be able to work with UNESCO Heritage, the Gaudi's Casa Patio. So what we are seeing is a teaser of transforming the historic media facade, the facade of the Casa Patio, and getting this UNESCO Heritage 100 billion points of the facade and taking this data real time with a special sensor and letting this, I guess, metaverse or living architecture every single day changing based on the weather condition of Barcelona. So the idea was, can we take the live physical world inputs and bring to the digital world? And to make this happen, we were able to create a kind of an iconic, I guess, the facade itself with its color information. And then take these historical details of the facade. And as you see here in the very center, the sensor that was taking data real time. And as you see here, the algorithm is creating the wind patterns or the rain conditions, or if the wind is too much, as you may see, the behaviors of the facade changes based on the reality of life, which I think I'm calling it a living architecture in the metaverse. And not only just in this virtual world, but we also take this and bring to New York, where the Rockefeller Center is. But I guess what was very powerful, not only this part, in Barcelona, we were able to projection map the building to bring to the metaverse. was amazing was 47,000 people were there to hug the building, to say hi to, I guess, the heritage. And I think what I want to finish is that the AI has its impact in society, but I think we are much in this phase of what else can we do with that, and how can we bring curiosity, inspiration, optimism, and much smart questions that I hope it can endeavor our future. And I want to finish this beautiful day with a quote that I just recently got 5 days ago in Burning Man, and it says, "The richest man is the one with the most love." So, heartily Jig Dang, thank you so much for hosting me, and I'm deeply honored to be here with you today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Refik Anadol.